wanted to recall from my colleagues, we're now at 776 days since the United States Senate has found itself with a budget. We haven't passed a budget in 776 days. This is not responsible at a time in which we're having the largest deficits this country has ever seen. This year it's projected our deficit as of September 30th, when the fiscal year ends, will have been $1.5 trillion, $1,500 billion deficit. So I think this is a big issue. Last year, the Budget Committee moved a budget out to the floor of the Senate, and Senator Reid chose not to bring it up, the majority leader. This year, he declared that it would be foolish to bring up a budget to the floor, and even though he has a majority in the Senate, and you can pass a budget with a simple majority, it's a priority item. So I've been harping away at that, and I've been talking about its impact on jobs. The Rogoff-Reinhardt study makes it clear from nations around the world that they've studied that when your debt reaches 90% of the economy, the entire economy of the country, equal to that much debt, that your growth drops on average 1%. Really, it's above that in median numbers, I believe, but at any rate, 1%. So I've complained about that. And I felt like my good friend, Senator Reid, he's got the toughest job in Washington. Being a majority leader in the Senate, I don't know how you do it, but you have to lead. As my wife says to me, don't blame me, you asked for the job. Well, he asked for the job, to be a leader. And he announced that it was foolish for us to have a budget just a few weeks ago. So when will we ever have one, presumably? And so just today, earlier this morning, I guess he got a little tired of my harping, and he said that I heard, quote, I heard our friend, the ranking member on the Budget Committee, that's me, come here and talk for hours, and he keeps talking about things that really have no bearing on what I think is important to the country today. And that is, we know that the Republicans have put forward a budget that destroys Medicare. Well, the Republicans didn't destroy Medicare. Give me a break. The things I've been talking about do have bearing on the future of our country, and I'm disappointed my good friend, the Democratic leader, doesn't agree. Housing prices continue to drop. They're expected to go down another 5 or 6% this year. We thought we'd hit the bottom on housing. Gasoline is still close to $4 a gallon. Unemployment just went up. We had a most meager increase in 54,000 jobs last month. You need to have about 200,000 to actually reduce unemployment. As a result, unemployment went up. It's the lowest and worst job numbers we've had in some time. So the debt, the economy, gasoline prices, jobs, those are matters that have no bearing on what is important to our country. I think they have a bearing on what's important. What does the American the majority leader believe? What does he think we should be doing? This bill that we've been fiddling with for weeks that has no monumental, significant ability to alter the debt trajectory that's taking us on a most predictable course to fiscal disaster. That's what we need to be addressing. It's the most important issue facing our country. Of that, I have no doubt. The trustees projected that the total Medicare spending will draw more than 45% of its funding out of the Treasury's General Fund in 2011. Now, a lot of people think that Medicare is funded by the Medicare tax we pay on our paycheck, the withholding tax that are paid, and that's a significant amount of money, no doubt about it. But the Medicare trustees just reported to us that they will, the total money that they expend Of that amount, 45% is funding directly out of the general fund, general tax revenues, not the payroll withholding. They've issued a funding warning that requires within the President to submit a legislative proposal, not just, he knew this was coming. Everybody, the numbers have been there for several years. They knew it was coming. He's supposed to submit a legislative proposal to get Medicare on the right track. You're going to raise taxes, you're going to cut benefits, you're going to ration care, or you're going to create a more competitive system that does the job with a little less money? What are you going to do? What's your plan? So as we wrote, as chairman and ranking member of the House and Senate committees, respectively, we are deeply disappointed that the administration continues to ignore this legal obligation. In 2008, the previous administration submitted a proposal to Congress that took steps to address Medicare's fiscal imbalance. By contrast, your administration has not provided a response to the annual Medicare trigger, ignoring the law in each of the past 3 years. This year, your budget did not even acknowledge the existence of the Medicare funding warning. In response to a funding warning, within 15 days of the next budget, and the proposal would then receive expedited consideration in Congress. So when we have this 45% level breached, the President's supposed to submit us a plan, and we're supposed to give it expedited attention. Why? Because Medicare is important. That's why. And when it's not on a sound financial basis, Congress has a responsibility to do something about it, not do nothing.